Welcome to this information session, a meeting with a former student of the International Business Administration program offered by Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. Nice that you're with us in this virtual online way. My name is Adrie Meidam. I work as Managing Director for the two bachelor programs that we offer as Rotterdam School of Management. We have one in Dutch, bedrijfskunde in Dutch, and one in English, International Business Administration. And I'm not alone today. We've invited one of our former students to share some experience on her current job, but also on her studies, her background, etc. Micky, would you be so kind to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Adrie. Hi, everybody. My name is Micky. I am a tech entrepreneur. I am the founder of a company called Minute. We're a tech startup, and we're basically a platform for ambitious students like yourselves, and we connect you with companies of all sizes. So we're connecting you with part-time work opportunities that relate to whatever it is that you're studying, hopefully IBA.
It looks like you've already started recruiting your future employees and students.
It does look like that.
Yes. Maybe go back to the start.
Yeah.
Where do you originally come from?
So I was born in Nepal.
In Nepal?
Yeah. That's. I think I was actually the first IBA student from Nepal.
That might be true. We do not have that many students from Nepal. We have them from all over the world, 60 different nationalities per year.
Yep.
Nepal is rare, I must say.
Yep.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
So very proud.
Yeah.
And I was raised in the Netherlands. So and my dad is Chinese. So we have a bit of a mix at home.
We're used to that in IBA. We have quite some mixies, as we call them.
Definitely.
Yeah. Nice. So, and where did you live in the Netherlands?
In a number of places as well.
Yeah.
I grew up in the north, Friesland.
Mm-hmm.
Friesland, and then later we went to Almere. But we've been in Leeuwarden, Heerenveen, Drachten, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. Where did you go to secondary school?
Where did I go to secondary school? In Almere.
Almere.
Yeah.
And then at a certain moment, you need to make up your mind, asking yourself, what kind of studies would I like to do, if I want to study at all? And then some kind of decision process starts. How did it go with you? Were you into business already from the earliest age, or is that?
Yes and no, because I think a lot of us are interested in business from a very early stage, but do we really know and understand what business means? Not necessarily, right? So as a child, so my dad was an entrepreneur, and that really inspired me to become an entrepreneur myself. And I saw him doing business, and I thought, that's amazing. I would love to do something like that. And so I was very passionate about what he did. And so when I was little, I always said, I want to do something with entrepreneurship. So I'm going to have a look at a business school. And then, naturally, where else in RSM, especially if you want to be in the Netherlands and you look at the rankings, I literally did a Google search and RSM was number one. So I thought I'll have a look at the programs there. And I knew it had to be an international program because I'm a little bit of a mix myself. So I wanted to be surrounded with like-minded students. So that's how I ended up at IBA, yeah.
I'm triggered because, we have two bachelor programs, and now especially the Dutch taught program mainly recruits the students from the region, so to say. So around 75% of the intake comes next door, so to say. For IBA, of course, things are different because there's only 30% of our intake who is Dutch, so the rest comes from abroad in recent years. Still, there's always a natural tendency to apply to the school next door. So when you lived in Almere, when you finished secondary school, I would say Amsterdam is closer, and probably Nijmegen also, I do not know by heart. But you had considered the various options in the Netherlands because, we offer these programs in 5-6 universities. What was decisive for you?
No, that's very true. So indeed, the IBA program is given at multiple schools in the Netherlands. Proximity is an important factor, but it was not a decisive factor for myself. So there's a couple of things that I looked at. So first, of course, ranking of the school, ranking of the program, how international is the program, because there's a couple of IBA programs out there. But if you really look at how many different nationalities are we really talking about, then our RSM is honestly here.
Was that really an important decisive factor? This degree of internationality, so to say?
500%. My entire career is built on the whole international aspect of it. So I have an international background myself, but I've been doing a lot of reading as well since I was little about cross-cultural communication and collaboration and what that really means. And it's so much more than just being in a classroom with a Spanish friend and an Italian friend. It's so much more than that. Getting to interact with all of those different cultures, it really not only teaches it a lot about myself as an international person, but you learn a lot about other people and the way of communicating. And it makes you a better business person, a better entrepreneur. Definitely.
I understand why you landed with us. Let's talk a bit about your current job. You already shortly introduced the company, but could you please repeat and also explain us a little bit what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, so to say? What is your thing?
What is my thing? So my thing is called Minute. And so the idea for Minute basically came from myself as an IBA student. Because think about it, there's so many ambitious students in the Netherlands. And ambitious students are always working on their future, always trying to prepare, and they also know that the best way, or at least one of the most important things, is if you have relevant work experience, or if you've gained some sort of work experience that's going to help you in getting a great job. More than having that experience, it's going to help you decide what are the kind of jobs that I want to get into, what kind of industries, what kind of companies. Maybe you want to be with a corporate, maybe you want to be with a startup. And so I felt that that opportunity lacked for a lot of students, including myself. And so I decided, why not build it then? And so that's Minute. It's a platform for ambitious students to connect with companies of any size. And those companies are outsourcing projects. So it's really piecework. Say you, Adri, maybe you're really good at social media and you're really passionate about that. And you may be a master's in marketing management. So we could connect you with a company who's looking for a digital savvy student like yourself and take over their social media content 5 hours a week. Very flexible, something that you can just do on the go. You can do it year round, because not all of us have the opportunity or the timeline to do an internship necessarily. Even if you did, it could still be great to have an internship and then still be able to do this all year round, 3 years of your bachelor, a year of your master's, and just getting to interact with all of those different companies. Yeah.
So you're kind of a broker, a dealer.
I guess you could, on paper probably. We do a lot more than that. So we facilitate the entire collaboration. It's much more than just, matching a student with a company, but making sure that the student can transition very smoothly into that new job. We're really trying to bridge that gap between education and business. Something that we're hearing a lot from business owners as well. Yeah,
and are you a one-person organization, company, or?
No. So we are a small team, a relatively small team. We are 3 people. That's the core team, but we also have an extended team because we are part of the. It's called the ACE Incubator, and so this is one of the best incubators in Europe, and it comes with an ecosystem of entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, mentors, coaches, startups. It's pretty amazing. So the ecosystem is huge. It's got about 300 people in there. So that's pretty much our extended team that we can just tap into for knowledge. Yeah.
But you're in charge.
Oh, it's I don't want to say it that way, but yes, on paper I am in charge.
you are the CEO.
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 28. Yeah.
Sounds impressive.
I find that it's a title on paper.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, in a company, as it's a startup, right? Minute is very much a startup, so I'm doing everything.
Yeah, I'm joking a little bit, but still, when we inform future students about studying with us and what your career and your future could look like, we sometimes say, well, you might able to end up as a CEO.
Definitely.
At this very moment, you prove this is true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. At what moment it became clear for you that you wanted to go this direction? Did you already enter our program with this in mind? Or is this something like a slow process? How was this?
That's a really good question. So it was very much twofold. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was very little.
Okay.
But I was not certain what direction I wanted to go into. And as I said, I did not get the idea from Minute until I became an IBA student myself, actually. So I went into this program thinking I'm going to start something and I don't know what. And so I talked with a lot of professors and with a lot of my classmates on how do I find the right fit and what is essential for an entrepreneur. And I found that a lot of them told me that sales is very important for an entrepreneur because you're always selling yourself, you're selling your product. Literally what I've been doing just now. So I thought I should probably consider a career in sales first and learn the ropes. which is what I did. So after graduation, I moved to Ireland and I joined IBM in a sales management traineeship. That was a very immersive program. It really taught you all the ins and outs about software sales. And after that, I moved to Salesforce. Salesforce is probably one of the coolest, youngest companies out there, very fast growing. And I did sales there as well. I talked with a lot of startups there, which is what kind of enhanced my idea for a minute. You know, all of these startups telling me about their challenges. And I thought, I'm going to take that leap now.
I'm going to take one step back.
Yes.
Because as a first step, you said I started a traineeship.
Yes.
What is that?
So a traineeship, of course, at every company it's different. The traineeship at IBM is a 1-year program that is designed to rotate you every quarter into a different department. Now, I specifically chose the sales traineeship. I wanted to get stronger on that part. And so you move around different products, you move around business development, sales, renewals, and management, all of these different teams. You get what is called Global Sales School. It's a 6 months IBM University is what it's called.
Yeah.
Field readiness sales training, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I spoke to more alumni today, and all 4 did a traineeship.
I
so obviously
highly
this is a
recommend
kind
it.
of a goal in the route if you want to end up somewhere, or
I would say it's one of the ways. Definitely not the only path. But for myself, I did know that, yeah, if I want to learn the ropes, I'm going to join a management traineeship. But of course, we see examples of a lot of really successful IBA students who have gone into different paths and are widely successful at what they do.
So when I listen to you, it looks a little bit like you were heading for a career in marketing and sales.
Yeah, that's probably what it sounds like. But I probably missed a step here, and that's my master's.
What master did you do?
I did a master's in information systems.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little bit more technical, and that was sparked by an IBA course, actually, because we did innovation management, marketing management, and the strategic business plan. And that really allows you to not just research products and innovative companies, but really analyze it and think about what makes that so innovative. And I started thinking all of these companies that I really like are all in the tech industry. And so personally, I felt that way, and I still feel that way. Tech is probably the fastest changing industry. It's so impactful on everybody's lives. And so I thought, hey, I want to move into tech.
And did you do it at RSM or at a different school?
No, I did that at a different school. I did it at the University of Amsterdam. Yeah.
Because there's not really, there's business analytics nowadays also at RSM, but it didn't exist back then.
Yeah, that didn't exist in my days.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Now it's good to change places anyway.
Yeah, it was very nice.
With IBA students. Yeah. So gradually, this idea got shape, so to say.
Yes.
That would be something in the field of starting up a company, getting familiar with the marketing and sales business, and then towards a next step.
Yes.
Yeah. If you look from your current job, would you say there are some courses in the IBA program that are of particular relevance for what you're doing nowadays?
Oh wow, we had
or not a single one?
No, definitely. We actually, I'm just thinking because we had a lot of courses in IBA, and I think, well, I just mentioned, innovation management having been crucial to that. But I think technology management, obviously technology management, that's also where you kind of research the tech companies and see what they do. What has been particularly useful, it was not my favorite subject, but it was really useful, was accounting.
Yeah.
Of course. I need to understand what's happening with the financials.
I was just about to ask, did you have to take any courses that at the moment you kind of hated them and found out later, still pretty useful?
I may not have hated accounting, but let's just say it was not my favorite. It was not my favorite. Cost accounting, and I think managerial, we had quite a couple of finance topics, and I would definitely struggle once in a while with those. And I would think, oh, this is difficult. But now, honestly, every single day I'm running the figures on the company. I'm like, well, this was useful. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, maybe the opposite also exists, that back then you thought of course, oh, that's highly useful and relevant, and nowadays you say, well, don't use it anymore.
I think, of course, there's always a lot of theoretical knowledge, right, with everything that you learn. And you may not necessarily apply every single model that you've learned. But all of that together as a whole, I mean, that whole 3-year curriculum teaches you to think critically, and it teaches you a certain way of looking at things and a certain way of analyzing things. So in that sense, I'm not sure that there was a course that was particularly not useful, to put it like that.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, actually, what we see, of course, is that as a bachelor program, we've chosen for a broad approach. I mean, what we see in business, we also see in business education. You always have to deal with the functional areas in business. You need to know a little bit about marketing, finance, accounting, HR, IT, etc. So it's all there.
Yes.
I would be surprised if our students would really love all those courses, but we hope that our students are able to find at least some that they like, and
Definitely.
which they say, yeah, that could be guiding for my next steps, for my master and then for my career. And I hear a bit from you, okay, you were taken by some courses, innovation, probably IT, technology management, and that kind of paved the way for next steps.
Yes, absolutely. I think that it's exactly what you say. It's a broad program. And what does that mean? You laid a foundation for everything, as you say, HR, sales, marketing, technology, even business law. Just thought of that, even business law.
Yeah.
That's important too,
Yeah.
because I still have all of my books, and sometimes I just pull out something that I need and I'll just have a look, and it's really useful. It's better than going on Google and researching it when you've learned it, actually. So definitely.
I will tell Miss Kirby that you still use the law books from the
Please
law
do
course.
so.
I don't know, did the honors program already exist when you studied with us?
I am not sure, but I was definitely not in the honors program at that time.
Yeah.
Sadly.
You may be disappointed to hear that we currently have an honors program in the bachelor program,
Okay,
which focuses on entrepreneurship and innovation.
that's amazing.
Led by Wim Hulsink, makes you develop all kinds of things. There's a hackathon included. We go to the Space Center, and there's even a study trip to Silicon Valley.
That's amazing.
That did not exist in your days. You would have applied, would you?
Oh, definitely, definitely, 100%.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Going back to your current business, as we concluded, you're in charge. So I guess you need also certain, let's say, leadership skills, managerial skills. Is there anything of this that you already learned during studies, or is this more learning by doing?
Both.
Yeah?
Both. I think you learn a lot on the job. As an entrepreneur, I don't think there is any study in the world that can prepare you for a specific job. Obviously not just for entrepreneurship, that goes for anything, right? But you do get the tools. You do get the tools by IBA. Group work, a lot of group work, because I remember IBA was just like so many assignments and so many team meetings and all of that. But that's crucial, because if you're going to be working in a team, not just as an entrepreneur, but as an employee as well, you always have to work in a team, right? You always have to work together, and you need to collaborate and synergize.
Yeah, I sometimes hear mixed feelings about group work, because it also comes with challenges, of course.
You can't always be paired with the best people.
You have experienced situations, I guess, in which you could choose your own group mates and others in that you were assigned to a group?
Yes, yeah, it was a mix of both. But I think, looking back, we didn't have crazy bad experiences. Actually, definitely the good experience outweighed the lesser ones. Even if there was an experience that was maybe not what we had expected, it still teaches you a lot, right? Not just about the other person, but about yourself. How do you deal with somebody who, may not be doing their part of the work?
Yeah.
These are important traits.
And are you looking now at this differently, now that you're kind of in charge of a team? Because sometimes I guess you also need to decide who's going to do a certain project or activity, or
right.
who's going to work together with whom. Is it also these kinds of decisions you take in your current job?
Constantly.
Yeah?
It's 24/7. Yeah, because the work we get is a lot more than the work we can handle, to be honest.
That's good to hear.
I work 7 days a week, so we're always on, and you can't always expect that from a team. They need to get their rest, which is of course it's essential. But you also need to decide, when am I going to do a task myself, and when should somebody else do that, and that has more to do with somebody else's skills. A lot of people are better suited at stuff such as, I'm not very good with numbers. As I said before, I didn't particularly like accounting. And I understand it now, but I'm not great at it, and it's not my passion either. So those tasks are better suited for somebody else. And I think that's part of leadership as well, understanding what you're good at, but more than that, understanding what you are not good at and what other people are better at.
Yeah, and then you also have to have a kind of trust in people who are really good in accounting and trust that they do a proper job.
Definitely, that's important. Skills.
Yeah. Have you ever been disappointed in this respect? That you thought, oh, people are very knowledgeable about a certain field, and then it turned out to be differently?
I think you always have these people. That's not necessarily, I haven't had it in my company. Actually, I've been very fortunate in that aspect. But I think it doesn't, whether that's in corporate, whether that's as an entrepreneur or as a student, there are always going to be people that maybe less knowledgeable, maybe a little less knowledgeable than you thought they were initially. That can be a disappointment, but that's also an opportunity for you to take charge, right? Turn it around and see it as a challenge for yourself to learn that.
Yeah, sounds interesting. And you say, I work 7 days a week?
Yes.
You have to?
Yes. Yes. But I love it. I am very, very passionate about what I do. In the corporate world, I worked a 9-to-6 job. It's 9 to 6 for 4.5 years. And I love my job as well at the time, but to me, entrepreneurship is much more than a job. It's something that, because there is such a deeper purpose, I know what I'm doing it for, and I'm helping society on a whole, and this is for the whole student population and helping all the stakeholders, businesses, students, universities, helping everybody get better. And I think, well, I need to put in those hours to make that happen as well, so that the next student doesn't have to have the challenges that I had. So that's what keeps me going. But yes, 7 days a week for now.
Yeah, okay. Today is also Saturday, we must admit. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Have you considered already quitting higher education with a bachelor degree only and not doing a master's?
Never. No. So I'm a very firm believer in education. That's not to say that, of course, there's a lot of people that after IBA go into amazing jobs. And I applaud them for that. Personally, I found it important to specialize myself a little bit more. We spoke about IBA being a broad program. It lays the foundation. But for me personally, I wanted that foundation to then decide what part of that foundation do I want to get to know better. And for me, that was tech. So moving into a master's of information systems, that taught me how to code. It taught me how to build applications. I've participated in several hackathons. All of these things, they have been crucial, because without that, I wouldn't have been able to build the technological platform that we have today. So definitely.
Yeah, so clear. It has to be a master's as well after bachelor. I must say, most Dutch employers simply expect you to have done a master's after your bachelor. In the past,
that is very true.
Programs used to be 4 years, so it will be difficult. Yeah. You're now based in the Netherlands with your company?
That's funny, because I actually just moved from Singapore back to the Netherlands, and that happened a month ago.
So you worked from Singapore until recently?
Yes, I have been everywhere. After IBA, I did my master's, but I wrote my thesis in California, so I was there for 5 months. And straight from California, I went to Dublin, Ireland for my job for IBM, and then Salesforce was also in Ireland. And then I moved to Singapore to start pursuing this project, and I was there for 1.5 years. And then I was accepted into the incubator, which is based in Amsterdam, so I just followed the opportunities.
Yeah, because I was just about to ask, was this all planned? Did you know, then I will be there, then I will be there? No?
Definitely not.
It just happened?
It just happened. I knew that I wanted to live abroad, for sure. That's definitely something that sparked in the IBA classroom as well. Being with all these different nationalities makes you very curious. And so I thought, I can't be doing IBA and not living abroad. I mean, right? So I thought, hey, it doesn't matter where I go, even if it's, even if it's next door, even if it's Belgium, I want to go there.
Yeah.
So I was very open to that, yes.
So you've gotten used to move places, so to say. Still, you needed to kind of accustom when you land in a new place. I mean, living in Singapore is quite different from living in Dublin.
Oh yeah, it's a different world, and I think that's another thing that you learn at IBA, being very adaptable, being flexible. And it's very easy for IBA people to just take a flight, go wherever. You could put me in the middle of nowhere and we would still be able to create a community there That's partly to do with the fact that IBA people are everywhere, by the way, because they're
rumor has
honestly
it,
everywhere. Yeah, I went to Singapore and I ran into somebody there at a bar. So it's quite funny from my IBA year. And then there's alumni events all over the world. And you get IBA people everywhere there. So
Yeah, what's that? The alumni events? I know the events because I know the school organizes them at the places where lots of former students kind of gather. I think they're named local chapters, but that's only the big ones. I think in London, probably also in Singapore. I don't know.
Yeah, we have one in Singapore. Yeah, it's quite big. I've been to a couple. I think we had about 35 people there. They were not all IBA, but they came from RSM.
Yeah. And then you meet each other. Is it also useful to meet each other? Because that's a kind of a network abroad or something like that.
It's a network, yes, a network first, but friendship second as well, actually, and that's maybe even more important. I met a lot of, actually rekindled old friendships, which is great, but then I also met a lot of new people, and there were a lot of venture capitalists in there, funny enough, which was particularly useful for the company. Yeah, got to connect with a lot of corporates, and no, definitely, it's super useful.
Yeah, so the picture that arises for me of the IBA student, well, that's typically someone who is ambitious, with a highly international mindset, who doesn't care about moving places,
exactly,
sees opportunities and has a bit of a cosmopolitan lifestyle, which comes at a price, ending up with working 7 days a week, or
if you like what you do.
Yeah, I got the picture. Yeah, we've quite some former IBA students working in Dublin, but I think they're all with Google or with.
That's very true, because I was at Salesforce and we had 8 IBA students just from my year at Salesforce at the time, and now I think that's 20 or 25. So yes, there's a lot of all of the Silicon Valley large companies, like as you mentioned, Google, LinkedIn, Salesforce, they're all EMEA headquartered in Dublin. So the European headquarters,
Do you regret, in retrospect, not having done certain things when you were still a student with us, or did you do everything you wanted to do?
I think there's always going to be regrets. As a student, you're juggling a lot of different responsibilities. You want to do a lot of things. I always wanted to set up a student organization, so I did that. So I was happy with that. That was also my board year, so that was great. But I always wanted to do more. So I did 4 committees, but then I wanted to do 6. Or then sometimes you see, for example, SR or STAR would have loved to have played a more active role in that. But you also got to juggle your own responsibilities, so you got to study as well. A lot of us have part-time jobs. I think maybe one of the biggest regrets, I would have loved to have done an internship or have gained some sort of relevant work experience, because I chose the exchange, which...
Yeah, I was just about to ask, what did you do in the famous trimester 7?
What did I do? I went to Taipei, Taiwan. That was amazing. It was just 5 months of amazing. It really changed my outlook even more, because IBA makes you curious, but the exchange just elevates it to a whole other level. And I'm still in touch with a lot of people that I met during my exchange. Some of them, funny enough, have become customers now at the new company. So, everything kind of comes together.
Guys connected.
Everything is connected. It's a small world. Yeah,
that's interesting, because we know that the IBA students are pretty keen on going on exchange, but we see that the most demand comes from our international students. And in my personal opinion, it's a bit redundant. They already changed places to come to us, to the Netherlands, so they already have their cultural shock, their experience abroad, etc. Whereas for the people from the Netherlands, they only experience when they go on exchange what their fellow first-year students coming from abroad experience when they started with us.
Exactly.
Then you kind of catch up and are at the same level. For you it's a bit different, because you've lived different places before already.
Yes.
But still,
Yes, no, I highly recommend the exchange to anybody, even international students coming from all over, settling down in the Netherlands. It's you can't be curious enough, right? You can only, all of the internationals. One of my friends, she was a Chinese international student, and then she went to Washington. And I even asked her, why do you go on exchange? Is that something that's crucial to you? Wouldn't you want to do an internship? And she said, no, and that's the same thing that Dutch people see in the IBA classroom. This is so international. This is making me more curious. I want to go out there and see what else there is. So yes, highly recommend the exchange.
Okay, that's very much the IBA spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. You told us a lot in just a half an hour. I'm looking also at our moderator, because we have an audience out there. It's possible that they also have questions for you, so I'm just curious if
Some questions. So how central is entrepreneurship in the program?
That's a nice question.
That is a great question. I do know there have been a few changes.
Yeah.
Because
So you start, I complete.
Sure. I am the class of 2013, so it's definitely not the same curricular. We did get a lot of case studies with real companies like Philips, Unilever, Shell, all of the big ones. You get a lot of hands-on experience. There are courses such as the strategic business plan where you work together with real companies and analyze their business. So in that sense, yes, definitely I think there was a lot of room for entrepreneurship, but I'm sure that Adri could tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, actually, when we restructured the program 10 years ago or so, not everything fitted in, and then we choose to make cross-cultural management a compulsory course for IBA, which did not leave us place for another course that we definitely wanted to have, which was entrepreneurship. So we offered a minor as an option, but that's not for everybody, of course. But with the recent restructuring of the new program, in which we offer also some differentiation in the third year, we've also introduced the course of entrepreneurship in the IBA program. So this year it's running for the first time, and then we catch up again with the rest in the program. So entrepreneurship is part of the program. And actually, as I shortly mentioned before the interview, we've restructured the program a little bit. We are now offering 5 different tracks in the third year, so students can follow their interest and capitalize on their strengths. One of these tracks is named Business Developers, and it is composed by people from innovation management, from entrepreneurship, and from marketing. And they offer a couple of modules. I think the first one is named Create, Startup. The second is Expand, Build Up, etc. And the third one is Change and Consolidate. So yeah, that's too late for you.
That's too late for me, but I could still work together with those students.
I would say so. So we have acknowledged the importance of this track, this field in studies. Yeah, sure.
That's great.
Yeah. Do we have more questions?
Yes. So in what kinds of associations were you, and was it doable while studying IBA?
So in what kind of associations have you been, and was it doable next to your studies?
Let me think, because I've done a couple. The most important one, I created my own, the New Fashion Society, which is still standing. It's an organization for the creative industry. So if you're looking to get into, LVMH, H&M, all of the Nike, Adidas, definitely have a look at New Fashion Society. That was also my board year, as I mentioned, so that was a lot on my plate, because that was a good, I would say, 30 hours a week on top of the full-time workload of being a student.
Ooh, that's a lot.
That's a lot, but it paid off. It paid off. What else did I do? I was part of, it was called Interviews, but I don't think it exists anymore, and that was actually a networking organization. So I was on the marketing committee for that. I did Greener, which is sustainability consulting. I was part of, I don't actually remember, but I did something with financials. Because I did not like the accounting course, I decided to go into a financial committee to try and spark the interest.
Did you go to BNR Beurs or so?
I did do that, yes. And of course, like a ton of in-house days. So a couple.
A busy life.
Busy life, but a good life.
Yeah. Final question. Otherwise, I suggest to call it a day. If there's any
question, yes. Yeah? So, how common is it for IBA alumni to start their own company?
That's a great question. How common? I mean, I'm not sure if we have like hard numbers on that, but if I just have a look at my own class of 2013, in my immediate circle, at least 20 entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs. They go in all types of field. There are consultants. There is a girl who created a publishing platform. I'm just thinking because there are a lot. So I'm going to say a good 20-30% actually that either has been an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur now, or will be an entrepreneur in the next 10 years. It's very common.
Yeah. What we see from the official figures, but we only have the figures after the master program, is that the large majority of our students go to the big companies, and especially IBA students have a natural tendency to go to the big international ones. So Shell, Unilever, KLM, etc. That's all around. and it's a minority setting up their own company, and there you see the difference, because what we observe during studies is that many of our students set up a company just for fun or for the experience, to make mistakes, etc. But not all of them really make the next step and starting a career by setting up their own company.
That's when it gets real.
Yeah. then the play is over, so to say, and
That's
things
true.
get serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of people, and that's the path that I followed myself as well. I did not become an entrepreneur straight out of school.
No.
I started in corporate as well. So maybe, you know, some of those figures, probably some of those have. I actually know a girl in my class who was in Unilever and then created her own company 4 years later. So you get a ton of those as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Well, great. A very interesting story. So we learned a lot about you, about how you landed with us, how you did your studies, your current life. Pretty impressive, I would say.
Thank you.
I guess this has been very useful for our audience to hear a little bit about how things can go if you want to be an IBA student and what could happen next. So take your time to swallow this information. It was a lot. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Wish you a good final year at secondary school if you still have to work for your final diploma. And in the end, make a proper and wise decision on what to study and where. Thank you so much for being with us on this Saturday. Bye-bye.